some people have worms, some people are worms, some people have candida, some people are candida.
Would it be safe to say that anybody who's been eating the standard American diet and was born into this culture and never questioned it, are they by default a parasite?
Yeah, like they're giving something up that's being regulated. Some area of them is being forfeited and regulated by, a governing body, a parasite, some sort of parasite. A lot of people, like we were saying, they have the information or the knowledge is so imprinted in them that certain things just will never be forfeited, no matter what they eat or what they do. They just have certain principles that have just made it through somehow, and they're just not
like a snake through thousands of years.
Yeah,
lizards, a specific lizard that's been able to replicate itself for this long.
Yeah, man. Certain people, like, you just wonder, like, man, this person was doing this, like I was saying, like Michael Jordan or anybody that is getting so much energy, so much heat that they can process garbage at a rate that nobody else could, because they have so much energy and so much heat. And it's like, man, how could you do these things if how could you be the best at this and still eat trash? And it's like, oh man, if you didn't, you'd be the best in a more personal way, in a way that is not like glittery. You know what I mean? It's like it's like if LeBron was to never pick up a basketball and just did breath work his whole life, like just he would be the best in another way. He would be the best, and his example would be a better example for the world, but for his personal self and the idea of himself and everything,
and the culture that supported it.
Yeah, then it would, that's like a totally different value system, where people feel like, the quality of your output in the matrix determines your quality of life.
And it's based on that fuel of like steak.
Yeah.
Or whatever's in there.
Yeah, and
the matrix.
Yeah, and it's just like, because at some level, anybody that is getting a lot of money they're getting it, and they're basically just managing other people. It's like life's not gonna give you, like, it's like there's like in the Tao Te Ching is saying, like, the greatest businessman has the community in mind. Has the whole of the community in mind. And it's just like the more people that you take care of, the more money you get, and it's just like more money, more problems, more money. And
you just managing the money, you don't own it.
Yeah.
You just managing the people.
Yeah.
Connected to that money while you're managing the money.
Yeah, and then some people really are good at that and still eat trash, you know what I mean? And it's just like, it just sucks for their personal experience, and I guess they could have attracted more money to help more people. But I don't know, I guess things being what they are, I don't know if certain people really did a bad job, even though they had terrible diets, given the circumstances. I don't know. I guess maybe if they did it again, they might want to do it a different way. Like, I was just thinking about like Prince or even Big Meech, people like that. They're just like, what other way can you really unite people, and manage people? And what arena do you have to measure your peers besides their work ethic or their hustle, what have you? And a guy like Big Meech, I just think, like, he was at the same time, it's like the giveth and the taketh. A lot of people he was trading hope for despair. People were trading, trying to get that poison, and they were giving their
heroin, coke.
Yeah, they're giving up their energy. They're trading their hope for the despair that comes with the drug. And it's like, since they're giving up that energy and that will, Meech is taking that, or all the people, his underlings, they're all taking that, and then they manifest in their dreams while other people live in their nightmare.
Wow.
And it's just happening in every way. Those pyramids is happening in every way throughout life. I just think Meech is just a good example of someone that united really all the slums of America. And I don't know what other grounds he could have done it on other than work ethic. I know he maybe could have done it on like based on a religion, tried to be Malcolm X. He could have tried to do that, but people just respect money and energy, and so that's probably the only way he could have done it. Or a person like Prince is like, he gave his life to the music, was an instrument of truth pretty much his whole life, but it costs his personal body. Like, I guess at some level it's like, there's a limit to selflessness. It's just the difference between sacrifice and compromise. Like,
It's probably like a limit to self-harm,
yeah,
no matter who it's for.
yeah. It's like, you can compromise if there's a mutual benefit, if you both benefit, but then like it just gets caught in that martyrdom, that martyr energy where you're just constantly sacrificing and taking the L for everybody. And I think everybody's just getting caught in that loop of sacrifice rather than compromise.
Yeah, it's a lot of the term I came up on was just the messianic complex. Like in humanity, this like really deep urge to save everybody and take on everyone's mess. I love the etymology to it. I forgot. I think it might have been you. Somebody else who posted, taking on everyone's mess. That's a messiah.
Yeah.
Like,
No, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. I don't know who said that. Yeah, no, that was.
It was a quote. It was a crazy quote, but it's like it's so hard not to try to save everybody, and there is this like messianic complex embedded in the structure to get people to feel like they need to save other people. And
you do by not doing. So much is done by not doing. The more that you try, the more that you push it away. It's crazy, like how that is, like how it's always an inside-out thing. And it's like there's no way for you to save people without saving yourself or helping yourself. It's like no way that you don't get the latter without the former.
Well, the OG homie, he was saying just don't go overboard with it. People just be going overboard. Like it's like a drug. Like, okay, I'm gonna get a little messianic today.
Yeah.
I'm like, you really indulging in something.
Yeah. No one has ever been a messiah for me though. You know what I mean? That's the thing. Like no one has ever been it, and I don't want them to be.
Mm-hmm.
And so I assume that everybody feels that way deep down. You know what I mean? Like really deep down.
They are it.
Yeah, because
you can't. It doesn't compute.
It's just gonna create. Nobody wants the atrophy that comes with being saved, because you just you're gonna forfeit so much by being saved from the outside in. And then I guess like it kind of just gives more credence to the idea that you can save others that way.
Mm.
So it probably just perpetuates it. I don't know.
I mean, I see that, and I mean, we could switch over to that lane real quick, just about what's going on with that atrophy when you let people help you from the outside in. And I'm talking specifically about medicine right now, but
yeah,
like where do you think people are being led with that, as far as letting the mechanical solutions, chemicals, medicine, Western medicine, letting these mechanical solutions lead us? Where is that taking us? Like, where is that leading all these people who are letting the problem be solved from the outside in?
it's just like being able to walk and getting in a wheelchair. It really is like that. Like it really is like using crutches when you don't have to, and then you just forget how to walk. Like it's like that, man. Like my knee's been bad for so long now. I don't even remember what it was like that when they were both good. So like I know the more that I were to limp and go with that, the more I'm not gonna remember how good even feels. And then then my good becomes relative. Like, oh, I can stand at least.
Yeah. Wow.
I think that's the atrophy that comes, that's just automatic with being saved. And, I've definitely wanted people to tell me things. Like, it's just like no one can teach me but me. So at different times I'll be mad at the people that I was learning through, remembering through, because they just were. Everybody just teaches you how to teach yourself. So by them teaching themselves their own style, and I would just be like, man, why don't you say it this way? Why don't you do it this way? I've come to these conclusions like, man, you should have said it this way. You should have done it this way. But the whole process brought me to that point, and I should just be grateful for that, I guess. It's like, because it's like, it's always gonna. You're the only one that can like tailor it to you to make it to communicate it for you, and then the people that understand it that way, they must be you, or close to you, and their resonance, or their relationship with life, because that's really about it. There's no separation. So the more that my style of teaching myself teaches other people, I guess the more the more, the people that do get it are either me or I'm just like getting better at being more universal in that sense. But it was never, you never can learn from someone else. You always teach yourself. And even when other people talk, you just hear it, and you hearing them in your own head. So it really is your own voice in your own head, and so it's a wild paradox as far as like remembering through people or whatever. And I guess that fine line of like being given information that you can't even apply yet, it kind of creates traffic, I think, sometimes. Like at different times I conceptually learned things or was reminded of things that was beyond any arena that I could apply that wisdom into. So I had more conceptual knowledge than I could use. So it was so much easier to talk myself out of things.
Yeah.
And then
Civic.
Yeah, so then I just wasn't going through processes, and then I wasn't actually learning anything. It was all conceptual. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a trap. It's really tough to get out of that too. Like for real. That's how intelligence or intellect is so tough to deal with.
Yeah.
Like it's so tough to deal with, because then you get to that zone of like, man, I could really rationalize myself into any behavior justifiably.
Yeah.
Like
Anything.
justifiably.
Yeah. Yeah, I can talk with conviction about pretty much anything. You know what I mean? If the momentum is going in that direction. That's why it's like hard to trust thoughts or emotions, and just like pretty much just take the moment to like feel the breath out, feel how it's feeling, if it's shallow or if it's complete, and then you can kind of use that as your compass more than the thoughts and the feelings, because it's so fleeting, man. And like, yeah, I can rationalize anything. I really can. I can rationalize any single thing, and yeah.
So that's a great thing on your tool belt. Hey,
Yeah.
when it's time to pull out the rationality
Yeah.
to apply it to something,
Yeah.
that's great. But if as far as letting that be the dictator,
Yeah.
it's a dangerous zone. I feel like it's a dangerous zone to be when it really is nothing other than the breath, and not even the breath, but what's behind it.
Yeah.
And what is that? It's you.
Yeah.
But if you don't feel like that's you, that's as far as you are from self-realization. It feels like.
Yeah.
It just feels like.
Yeah, I just it's wild, man. Like, it is just like the events of life are really gonna take place. Like, and I guess the more spoiled you are, the more you ignore it. The more, and then ignorance is really just evil in a different name. The more that you ignore things, it's just what creates the evils, and I guess it just comes from the spoiling. You know what I mean? 'Cause
Yeah. How far off is spoiling from self-absorption? Like being spoiled to just being self-absorbed. Like I don't see much of a difference in using the words.
yeah, I guess you could call them the same thing. You could call it really the same thing.
And so being spoiled is just being so absorbed in your own experience as separate from everything. And just being trapped in that experience to where you really can't pay attention to anything outside of you.
If you're in pain, it's difficult to think about or do anything. If you're in like immense pain, it's really difficult for you to be selfless. That's like, I guess, the greatest challenge, I guess, if you're just in a lot of pain. Because like, if you're constantly in pain, you're just going to be constantly brought into because pain is a body language. So you're constantly being brought into the body. The consciousness is constantly staying in the body, in that place, the more it's in pain. And so your people are just simply in pain, and so it's hard to be selfless when you are constantly in pain.
And it just, part of that mechanic or that dynamic, the three things I've heard that pain is saying is stop, listen, and change something. You need to change something.
Yeah, some threshold has been reached.
Yeah, it's like the pain is really saying stop.
Yeah.
Listen to me, and where this is coming from, we need to change what's going on. But if we don't, it's just can't stop.
Yeah.
Can't still the thoughts. Can't still the daily routine if it's coming down to being responsible for other people. and then just piling on all the chemicals, whether it be drugs or food, same thing.
Yeah,
It's just a psychosis of pain that just seems to go deeper and deeper into pain that we'll have to like drown out with substances until we deteriorate enough to like drop dead.
yeah.
I feel like that's the wave that most people are on.
Yeah, they just don't want to be in the body no more.
And so you could just avoid it all the way to you're on your way out.
Yeah, and you just bypass. It's like that's why stopping is like everything, cause like it's just like the Tao Te Ching, like you create a house or whatever. You make the house out of material, but the empty space is where you live at, and it's like the same thing. It's like the emptiness, the not doing, the stopping, the stillness. The more that you stop, the more that you stop things, the more that you're stopping the stopping in a lot of ways, because you're stopping the obstruction. You know what I mean? Really. And so once the obstruction is stopped, then life plays out the way it's supposed to, and you're just not in the way of it or yourself. And so you don't have to try or do anything, because the events are just going to unfold. And so like the more that you like clamp down and like clench up
From the personality.
yeah, the more that it just makes them events more brutal.
Yeah, and that we really touched on it in part one of this, as far as like the persona, taking life or being taken through life by you in the dreams.
Yeah.
Like you taking yourself through life by dreaming it and being connected where everything does happen. You step out of the way and everything actually does happen. It can happen, like in a really natural way that's effortless if we're identifying with who we are in our dreams and mastering that. It's like, but not even that, but just stepping aside, and for what you're saying, it's worth for everything to just happen as a result of you stepping aside.
Yeah.
The dream aspect seems to be really key in realizing this for real, and for what it could be in a lifestyle like that, where everything just does happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just like the process, man. Paying attention to the process. It's like I think a lot of the times the persona ruins the dream because it's so consumed by the results and not the means. It's not consumed. It doesn't. The processes are all being missed or are being taken unconsciously, to where the only part of the dream that's remembered is the elation or the results. Like you just remember, like I was on the motorcycle, or I was in the Lamborghini, or I was doing this, I was doing that. It's like, but none of the process of getting to that point is retained. So because it's like the processes of life are being disrespected or ignored somewhere in the waking life too, and so all the focus is on the ends, and so it's just like life just becomes anticlimactic all the time, because you can't want what you have, and it's like the more that you
Keep getting it.
Yeah, the more that you get things, it's like punishment. Really getting things becomes punishment more than a reward. Because
you're not respecting something.
Yeah.
Where I heard it, it was either in the Quran, it was a dude talking about it, but it was about having a right to the action, but not the fruit of the action. Like if I want to get a fruit or make something happen, I have a right. I literally have a direct right to the act of making it happen, because that's the act of it. But then there's a result of that act that I'm not entitled to. Like, I'm not entitled to the result, but I'm entitled to pulling all of what I think I would get from the result and putting all that into just the actual process of getting it.
Yeah.
Where I have a right to the process of getting it, and I can just pull it to that.
Yeah, it's like a good punchline in a joke or rap, and it's like the process of you enjoying creating it is really all you're entitled to. You're not entitled to the laughter or people getting it. You're not entitled to anybody's understanding.
Yeah.
You're just entitled to your process.
So being spoiled and absorbed and mechanically fixated on results and making them happen mechanically, you're really disrespecting this natural way.
Yeah.
And then that's how it's like a punishment. If you keep getting things like that in a mechanical way, well, with really fixated on the result of it instead of you getting into what it actually is, which is the result also. We're doing that to ourselves. It's just like...
Yeah.
It's rough.
Yeah.
It's cycles. This is like vicious cycles.
Yeah, everything has become really mechanical because of the slave and the master separation of things. Like everything is, and it played out physically separate to where you have a slave master and actual slaves and everything. But it's just, it really is that separation. Treating the food like a slave, treating the music like a slave. Everything becomes that slave and master relationship. Like, give me energy, do this, do that. It's like tyrannical.
Mm-hmm.
It really is that way. So the relationship with self becomes that way. And I guess it got no other way to go but to whipping yourself, I guess.
Yeah, so just how do we be good leaders to ourselves after the tyrannical dude? Who would you want on the throne?
Yeah. I guess like what kind of person or what kind
Like,
of
who would be a nice fresh breath of air after the whole kingdom's been experiencing, a few centuries of tyranny?
Yeah.
Who you want at the throne for yourself? I think it's we're starting to redefine kingship and things like that with the Tao. It's like something about the Tao and the Wahoo Ching specifically, not even the Wahoo Ching, but as a different interpretation of the Tao is going through. It really was touching on it a few different times about whoever's been the most just undersigned person, the most forgotten person, just the most like cast to the side, really not even no one's really cares about this guy at all. That's who's supposed to get the throne.
Yeah.
It was saying that.
The first shall be last.
Yeah.
And the meek shall inherit the earth.
Yeah.
It really is like. That's why I really feel like the Bible is the male version of the Tao Te Ching. It's just like a more rational, more extra version, and the female one is more quaint and more, direct. But it really is the same essence though, of like pretty much the humility, being low like water, to where you get beneath everything and merge with it, and then whatever doesn't want to merge just loses its roots, so it can't sustain anyway. Yeah, it's really I guess that's really it. Anything that's not in touch with its roots is gonna constantly, like the Tao says, sway to and fro. Be constantly chasing, or like the Wahoo Ching says, it's like I'm desperately trying to figure out if this is small or large. If this is more important or less important, and it's just the loss of the perspective.
Just let go of the knife.
Yeah.
Let go of the knife. Stop.
Yeah.
Stop chipping away at it.
Yeah.
Just let it be what it is.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's incredible, man.
Yeah, man. The Wahoo Ching, it would be a different world if children were raised with that as the curriculum. Wahoo Ching, the Tao Te Ching, and a bunch of things, but them two for sure, man.
I mean, and it's like before the kids get the curriculum, the teachers need to go through the training.
Yeah.
Too,
Yeah.
so they can properly
Yeah.
expose children to this without any parasitic marks. I don't know.
And I always think about that. I was like, man, if I have a kid, if I was to have a child, and I did it, in a complimentary way where it didn't offend life, if that's even possible. If I did that, would the child be like, yeah, I'm past that. I'm not listening to that. Like, come on. Like, all right, that's already so ingrained in me. I was living in your body while you was going through that. Like, stop. I'm teaching you now.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
I be wondering if that's how it would be. If they just be so over that. Like, that's too rigid. That's so rigid. You're so rigid. I'm living that now. You know what I mean? I don't need to conceptually hear it. I'm living it. I am the Tao.
Just
you know what I
running
mean? Yeah. I wonder. I always wonder that. You know what I mean?
climbing trees.
Yeah. I wonder that, my man. It's a wild thing. Like,
I'm sure there's like parenting. There's definitely parenting angles you can take to. It doesn't even matter what the content is. You can just make sure you're not. You just give it to them at the right time, no matter what it is.
yeah. I guess you just got to do wherever your sincerity takes you. You know what I mean? If you really want to wake up and listen to the Tao Te Ching, and you're really doing that, and it's like for you, then I guess it will rub off. But if it's just like going through the motions, it probably won't stick. But I don't know. Yeah, like
But if you just didn't give them TV,
yeah,
and then all their friends are watching TV, you're like, hey, don't watch that. Take this book.
yeah.
Get into this. I don't even think they would. I'm so far out of my ability to speak on things at this point.
I know.
Kids.
It's a crazy projection at this point. It's
Yeah.
it's like really like it's just a crazy projection.
Yeah, crazy projection.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, you know, if that ever does happen, that'd be cool to watch in real time and be present with.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. You know what I mean? Yeah. If that's ever the case, then it'll just be what it is, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, and you just go from there and just be the best example, best template you could be, and let the chips fall. But
And make sure, you know, but they got a dream too.
yeah,
I feel like we can connect this thing with the dreams and then really start to, you know, get it to where there doesn't have to be as much as of a split in the mind.
yeah, you know, and I guess it's like, you know, you're attracting a teacher through your dreams. So it's just some kind of contract there where they're like, all right, I'm gonna come, you teach me this, I'll teach you that. We make this exchange. And then it's just like, it would take a lot of you know, to be really attractive. The more attractive you are, like in that way, in like a clean way, like if your clarity is really there, I feel like, yeah, like you're gonna attract a great teacher. But if a lot of things are, you know, ignored and neglected, then yeah, you're just gonna attract
A vamp?
yeah, say yeah, it'd be like the kind of teacher that you would
Vamp teacher?
hate to go to their class. You know, it just tries to force stuff on you. I guess it would be like that kind of kid. I don't know. It is really a two-way relationship, just like the predator and the prey. The prey moves fast, the predator moves fast. If it moves slow, they move slow. It's like the son and the father, or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, it's like you need to have a child that is, you know, willing to be a better son, and then the father too. It really is like a two-way street with that, or whatever. You know, daughters and everything. It really is like, you know, that. And I guess it just, you know, this is gonna be determined by who you breed with. A lot of that is gonna come down to that, and the whole attraction point when you met that person.
Yeah, and when you do meet that person, you probably met him in your dreams first.
For sure.
It's not even probably at this point. I'm personally moving over to the full belief that this is what's happening, and once we can get oriented in the dream space, everything else takes care of itself.
Yeah.
Here.
I've never met anybody online that I didn't meet in dreams first. So I'm assuming, since online is more inorganic, that meeting somebody physically in person randomly will be definitely even more so a dream manifestation that just crystallized. Gotta be. It's more organic, so it had to be.
And the computer can help too. Maybe it could expedite things for people to where they wouldn't have met that person in that lifetime. Like there's no way. Maybe having in the internet here
I really don't.
accelerated it for everyone,
Yeah.
or maybe it just made it more inauthentic. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I can only speak about my circumstance. I would rather meet someone like just tying my shoe, and they don't know who the fuck I am. I don't know who the fuck they are. That would be perfect for me at this point. I don't want to meet anybody, any female that thinks that they've met me already digitally before they physically met me. I just don't want nothing to do with it. It's just so much projection.
It's that seems like the seed itself of the relationship wasn't real.
Yeah.
Like if you wanted to plant something in that, you planting it, how you plant that determines how the whole thing becomes. If you have like if you take this on and plant this relationship with who I think Taylor is.
Yeah, yeah. And it's like my avatar has become self-actualized to where it's kind of I've given it will and energy to where it's now connecting with other people's avatars, and it's really just my second dimension connecting with other people's second dimension, and and so it's like that avatar that I've created is like a monster. It's like my Frankenstein. And I just like, it's this thing I've
Just on the internet?
Yeah, pieced together, you know what I mean, this dead thing, yeah, that I've just created that's like, just connecting haphazardly with everything, because it's, less organic, so it's less complete, and it's, just so it's going to be less aware because it's not complete, and it's just not that many dimensions to it, and so I feel like I definitely created a monster with my likeness. It's going around constantly connecting with people in a way that I don't even remember a lot of it. So I know that it's just basically just like a kid I had created that's just using the essence and just running away with it and doing whatever it wants, attracting what it wants to serve itself. And that's what I feel like is the problem with social media, and not even other people identifying with the idea as me. The more pictures I take, the more I identify with it and give it steam.
Us giving will to our shadows.
Yeah.
To where the shadows literally could start to just
consume the rest of the system.
Yeah, and get your whole mind monopolized and oriented somewhere for, trying to get fed from the shadow perspective,
Yeah.
Where, yeah.
You're just constantly feeding this idea or whatever, this hologram, and it's a wild thing, man.
If you doing it, it should bring you back bounties and resources.
Yeah.
But if not, if you made it unconsciously, it's just gonna, like, I feel like you really could make a 2D hologram or something. You just gotta be really conscious about how you're making it. Like, okay, this is supposed to help everybody, and it's all automated, and it'll bring me more money so I can do more organic stuff.
And I'm gonna delete it when I'm done with it.
Yeah.
And I don't want to get in any clouds, trapped in no clouds if I can.
Damn, man.
Yeah, because it's suspending my consciousness.
The cloud. No.
You know what I mean? It's suspending my consciousness, and so it's like, I don't know. I've had dreams where I'm scrolling and stuff, and I just feel like I must just be in a two-dimensional part of me, connecting unconsciously with other unconscious people doing the same thing, and something is manipulating it because it's not complete. So something's filling them gaps, like, something is making that all happen and connecting those dots to where people are showing up in my physical life from these interactions, and in that realm or in that part of me, I guess I could say, that two-dimensional part of me. And I don't know, because I've had plenty of dreams where I was like legit scrolling. I'm literally online, and it's almost like that Chappelle episode, almost like where he's in the internet. You ever seen that? Yeah, and the pop-ups come and everything, and it's like we're really in the internet, and like we're really in the ethernet. And I don't know, like at this point, I don't know how far we are into this matrix. I really don't. I really don't know how many dreams within dreams we're in, or how many games within games, how many holograms within holograms that we're in at this point. So, like, you definitely want things to be as organic as possible, given the fact that, the environment is so inorganic. And, I guess you just need some kind of point of reference to where you could trust it more. Like, I don't know, like, it's just more difficult for me to trust that circumstance, than if I just met someone, like, at the store randomly. I feel like even though it seems random, it's easier to trust because of the randomness, because of the anonymity. Like, it's like almost like just the Tao Town shit, like when he's like, when the master does her work, she forgets it. That's why it lasts forever. It's almost like when things is anonymous and you're just doing things just from sincerity, and life brings you to a point, whatever that comes with that, you can accept it a lot better because it's just not jaded. It's not like they saw this image of me that I my personality put online and their personality received, and then those two things kind of cultivated this connection, and then we're creating that's the common ground. So we just continue to amplify the personality, and I'm just filling all the gaps with personality. I'm not, it's just a lot less silence filling those gaps. And it just sets the tone for the whole relationship, where it just becomes an entertainment ship, where it's like, we're just each other's best distraction that we could manifest. And instead of somebody that is so concerned with their own self-expression that it just forces you to do it. And you just meet wherever you can in that process. I feel like that would be nice, but maybe I'm asking too much.
You just described like the most organic relationship ever.
Yeah, it would be nice, man. I don't know. And then I would just be like, to settle for anything else, when I know it exists in my mind, it's just gonna eat away at me. because I know it exists.
Yeah. That's a tough spot.
Yeah.
Not good or bad.
Yeah.
Comparison's rough. But how are we manifesting?
Test the patience.
Well, man, do you even need patience if you have the blueprint for how reality works? Like, you're like, oh yeah, this is how it works. I have reference experiences. But damn, I guess there's parts where there's like, man, there's sometimes, I don't know, just things you can't trust, or things or context. Like, I don't know how deep we're in this.
Yeah, and that's why, like, I could, it'd be fine. Like, okay, we're in a hologram. It's just not real. It's just all just an arena that we created. But I could trust it more, if it just came from a place, just an inorganic place. I mean, from an organic place it was. I didn't have no conscious intention. I feel like the conscious intention just interferes with everything. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like the subconscious is really the consciousness, and that the local consciousness is really the unconsciousness or the subconscious. It's
just like the dreams are really life.
Yeah.
And life's really death.
Yeah, I feel like this is the local consciousness is the subordinate. It's the subconscious, and it's the drop in the ocean. And to call the ocean the drop is just absurd. The subconscious being everything else. You know what I mean? Being, when you have that ego death or whatever, when you melt into everything, and you like, man, I am everything or whatever. That whole process, like,
Bufo.
Yeah, like that state of consciousness. That is the consciousness. You know what I mean? And so, like, the local consciousness is the conscious intent is constantly interfering with the processes, or with because I feel like the subconscious is so giving and so divine and so selfless that it's just constantly giving you what you need in the form of challenges, or even if it is love, because some people it's a challenge to accept help or love, so it's still a challenge. And so I feel like the subconscious is delivering exactly what you need constantly, but then the conscious intention is constantly creating concepts that are interfering with the way things are playing out. Like, the events are just unraveling and happening, and they're going to happen, and it's inevitable. But then the conscious intention is just like blocking the manifestation, the processing speed, and then it just like goes to like dial up. And then you just think more, and then the more you're thinking, the less you're being, and then it's just miserable. Like, I really think thinking is like a big response from pain.
Seems like it's like a cosmic bike. We're like learning to ride like a cosmic bike, aka the vehicle or your body, your craft. Like, how is it moving through reality? What is your conscious intent? What do your conscious intentions have to do with that? And I feel like we just keep crashing into what we think are failures and stuff while we're get on top of our manifestation.
Yeah, and it's just like, if you fail at something in the 3D, you succeeded probably in another way, or if you succeed in the 3D, you probably fail in another way. It's like you never really lose or win. It's just the trade, and if the trade lines up with your state of consciousness, then everything is smooth.
Sweet spot.
Yeah, you know what I mean? If your consciousness is all in the root, and you've never experienced anything beyond that, then certain trades are going to make sense for you, and life is going to still protect you, because that's really your true reality, and you have not experienced anything beyond that. So you have a level of protection, but some people just like to stay there forever and never expose themselves to things that would bring them out of that paradigm, because it just brings more responsibility and more release.
But they don't know that.
Yeah,
they
subconsciously.
Subconsciously they know, but consciously it's just missing information.
Yeah.
So, as far as like what that could be outside of what we've always known, it's kind of like this island in this ocean, and everybody's afraid of water.
Yeah, and it's all gonna feel like an attack.
Yeah, but it's really not. It's like that's the most dangerous spot to be. It's a really fun spot thing for me to contemplate, is when people feel like they're safe, but from the context of who they really are, that zone that they're in is dangerous. Like, it's dangerous to stay there. And then it's what you should feel like is safe is not being in that what you've always known.
Yeah.
If those beliefs and values can get flipped, people can really get out of the box.
Yeah, it's like when you're in a house that's so peaceful that you try to disrupt it, just because the chaos became more of a home to you the peace. I don't know. I feel like that's definitely the circumstance for a lot of people, and in my own experience, where chaos just feels more home. It feels more comfortable than peaceful.
Or just saying, yeah, chaos, anxiety. I don't know how many, like, I feel like any woman who if I met a college student, whoever, that's all that she's ever been up to, is just like conforming to other people. There's a subtle level of anxiety, I feel like, that's there. Like, so, like, they're used to being stressed over other people's thoughts and things like that. And if you come around someone who's a certain degree of peace, eventually we needed more stress, more things to be stressed about. Like, I don't know if you've seen this.
Yeah.
Like, as far as really needing things to be stressed about, things cannot go smooth. It feels so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It's just like there's this impulse to just make things how they always were. And again, it's just owed to the subconscious, because I don't think people can do anything about it. After seeing it happen so many times, and then going through it with people to where they do want it, they do kind of throw things in the, they throw a wrench in the cog purposefully a lot, but it's not purposefully. It's like, I don't know why I did that, but it's like, it's the subconscious.
Yeah.
It's the subconscious, that's running the show to really kind of show us, like, yo, wherever you go, there you are, where you've always been, and you can't really escape it, as much as you want to think your way to other places and deny that.
And the other side of it, for me, is like when people don't have that sense of urgency to express themselves, and that they are satisfied with certain levels of chaos. It is like, it makes me nervous.
Yeah.
It makes me really nervous when people don't take advantage of certain things, because it just reminds me of the times when I wasn't, and then all the bad things that happened to me, all the traumas that were created from my lackadaisical approach to life, and just taking things for granted. And so, like, I feel like when other people are exhibiting that, it makes me nervous, because I feel like trauma is not far away from that behavior. And so, like, for me to associate with that, I feel like trauma's coming my way.
Yeah. If you see anyone do it and you notice it, it's like, that's kind of your warning.
It makes me, that definitely makes me nervous when people that don't have the intensity or sense of urgency. And I just think if their satisfaction comes from certain things, it makes me nervous. It does.
I see a lot of just this, because I want to talk about the sweet spot and, like, seeing the trades between everything, or being able to see your mortality and then work with that, as a vantage point to be able to approach things, like approach that trade from a neutral spot, or approach the moment from an intense place. Like, I don't have forever,
Yeah.
Like, I really don't have forever, and really everything is a trade. So there's this really emotional sweet spot that I could really meet the moment at, as far as, like, engaging with what's happening. And with the intensity and urgency with expressing yourself, because you just started saying it just now, but it's like, I really do feel that if I'm like, man, I got a limited time and I can't express some things, but in that, if it really is this limited, I feel like every day, time really shouldn't be what it is, as far as getting things done and tasks and shit. Like, that's not the focal point at all. It's just more so just like that feeling and following the breath to that death.
Yeah. It's not a time thing. It's not a time thing. Like,
No.
it's just that I guess it's time in a sense, like it comes a pace, so that it involves time, but it other people's paces are different, and they can still maintain that sense of urgency. Like, I don't know, I can see, like, an older person that still has a sense of urgency even though their pace is slower.
Yeah.
They get up, they make their bed, they do everything. They're doing everything on time, and they're doing it, like, with so much care that it's like, even though it's slow, the urgency is still there, like the presence is still there. And then they just know that you got to put one foot in front of the other. You can't do the next thing before you do the first thing. And it's like, when I see that, it doesn't have to be a fast pace. It doesn't have to be the same speed as me. It's just like, I just have to feel like that they're just staying present in their processes, and, like, constantly making themselves available to, you know, whatever the next synchronicity or checkpoint moment is. You know, I feel like people that live like, well, I'm gonna make the most out of everything, make the best out of everything, and do my work and do everything I gotta do before the day ends or whatever it is, use this day to its fullest capacity. When they're thinking like that, and they're really in a neutral space where they're just like, okay, what's the next thing? What's the next thing? They're just making life, like, it's just constantly available, like,
Yeah.
constantly being available for being surprised. Like, nobody really wakes up and, like, doesn't want to, you know, realize love or whatever it is. Like, no one wakes up like, oh, man, I don't want to get swept off my feet by life today or whatever. You know, no one wakes up like that. Like, I don't want that. It's just like, you got to really make yourself available for it. And people don't be making themselves available for it. Like, I feel like, and it just...
Because partially, maybe they don't want it.
Yeah, I guess so.
Just partially. It's just partially. Like,
Yeah.
but at the core of us is always what that is. Like, even someone depressed who can't get out of bed, deep down they want something still. You know,
Yeah.
like, and it has to do with life unfolding.
Yeah.
It has
Yeah.
to, it's like, come on, life. I don't want to get out of bed, but I want to get to the next thing. You know?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, I mean, everything is like living by code, you know, like at some level, like, you know, a lot of animals in the zoo could kill themselves, but they don't. They have the capacity to slit their own throats, and they don't. And it's just like they are living by code. Everything is living by code.
It's a domestic code.
Yeah. Like, something is ingrained in the fabric to where that a code is being expressed, and it's just people, I guess, not really in touch with their coding. That creates a lot of the strife.
Because they're getting coded.
Yeah, it's just, you know, if you knew, I feel like if you just knew your coding, it wouldn't be bad. Like, you just be like, man, well, I'm gonna be a demon, be a full demon, and be the best demon I can be, without any inhibitions. Then I think that you get some type of protection from life, because life is just like, all right, well, then if that's happening, that means the angelic person has to be manifesting at the same rate,
Yeah.
and they're gonna meet.
And even the code, like a good example of the coding could be, you know, the Chinese zodiac. Like, oh, I'm a wooden tiger,
Yeah,
or mixed with this, or
your hours and everything.
yeah, all the hours are with the gene keys. It's like, oh, this is my profile, and these are my shadow aspects. Or damn, I mean, what else other than like an oracle reading or something to like get that feedback about who you are, to where now I can
Yeah.
now I can get on with what I was doing. I was really mixed up with who I was, and all the mixing is.
Yeah, and it's just like, well, it doesn't have to happen in such a shitty way, like, because like the question and the answer are not separate; they're part of each other, you know. And I feel like there's nothing that you can escape in life. Like, either you learn it all in life, or you learn it all in the process of dying, and they're kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like if you were just shot and you're bleeding out, you're gonna come through all the epiphanies. You're just going through it so much faster that it's gonna be harder to retain it than if you just stretched it. And then you die, and you shed that husk and go into the next one, and you just build from that. Whatever knowledge itself, all the opinions and stuff wash away, but the knowledge itself can, that presence
It refines.
can it can be more expressed.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's like, it's wild that they're always gonna find each other. Like, life is always the answer and the question. They're not separate, so that it's always gonna happen. It's just like the way it's gonna happen is like, are you still gonna have a body by the time, or are you gonna have drop your body prematurely? You know, or are you gonna be crippled, or what? You know, it's like, are you gonna be out of place at the time that the alignment happens? But the alignment is like the events of life is inevitable. Like, these things are gonna happen one way or another.
And they're already happening. And I feel like that's the disconnect. Or just like, it really is right in front of us. Every hour is like the next.
Yeah.
Every day is yesterday and tomorrow. Now.
Yeah.
It's happening now. like,
Yeah.
To make that's the disconnect, I feel like, as far as people being able to engage it all. It's like, because we can't really see the dream now. Can't see these like this process of dying, in this process of living, simultaneous, you know. Like, it really like, it's frustrating. It's like, you know, telling me that what I want is right in front of me.
Yeah.
When I haven't believed that my whole life.
It's like what you want is what you are, and it's like it's just a crazy thing. Like, cause I know that anybody that's dying, literally dying right now, they're like, man, this is it. This is my last breaths. And then then it all starts to dawn on them in that moment, like, oh, it's the breath. The breath is the thing that's been carrying me the whole time. Everything else has been blocking me. And I think it dawns on everyone, one way or another. It dawns on them that the breath is the sublime force that is creating everything, that takes credit for nothing, that gives all the credit, that is the true presence. And it's just like people gotta really, I guess, take the hard route. I don't know, babe. I don't know. I guess it just all has to exist. I guess it's just all gonna exist.
It's quite the maze.
Yeah.
What a maze, man. Is this just like, is there just a big group of souls that loves mazes? We've been traveling the cosmos for the most
challenge.
difficult maze.
Yeah.
Where is it?
Yeah.
Like, give me that.
Yeah.
Give me that. And these souls are probably like 1,000 years old.
Yeah.
Or like, I don't know.
I wonder, yeah.
No, but yeah.
I wonder if it gets to a point where you're looking at your soul like the same way you look at your social media avatar. Like, I guess, you know what I mean? We went like your astral body. You know what I mean? You're looking at it like the same way that you look at the two-dimensional avatar. Like, it's just outgoing, giving feelers out into the world. It's the same. I think it's got to.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard a lot of stuff. People talking about star systems. I'm not even gonna go there. Won't go there, but yeah.
Yeah.
There's something going on in the astral with the astral body and who that is, where they're from, and then you get into this dream. We can operate this body from.
Yeah.
Connected to another thing.
Yeah, and it's just like that funny thing. I always wonder, like, if you take more than you need, you rob from yourself or whatever. And I guess it's just like whether you're robbing from yourself now or robbing from the parallels. If it is like a multiverse and you got a bunch of fragmented parallels that you operate from, that you can synchronize them all together, then I would assume that when one of them is going so rogue and so parasitic that they would all conspire to kill the one. And if you happen to be identifying with that one, then it's just, you experiencing death. Your consciousness actually experiences death. And
that's just going to the subjective realm that there's nothing.
Yeah, I guess, just an experience in just intense limitation. I guess that's what that would come down to, like, because the death is, I guess, a limitation in the sense that you're not immortal. And then I guess in another way, if all your fragments are parasites, then they might all still be conspiring to get you, just so they can get all of the bodies. Like, if all your parallels, all your past lives, say if you had kids that got infected and then they had kids, and then now you're just like randomly reincarnating, and then now you got all these bodies in the quantum field that like have infected with parasites, and you're the one that's holding the true essence and the will and the breath and the source of energy. So they're probably gonna just continue to conspire to challenge you, and to, if you don't accept the challenge, to just consume you. That's what I don't know. With the multiverse parallel thing.
Yeah.
Like Hot Tub Time Machine too.
And people are battling these. We're battling these, and I'm not even gonna go even any deeper. And I don't know. Is there anything else like you feel like we might want to add?
No, I guess I don't know how long the other video was if we're merging them. So I guess it's been long enough.
Minutes.
Yeah, I guess they're long enough.
I mean, it was all consistent through. Like, I really wanted to just weave the dream theme through, and and we're getting a better picture for our viewers. I feel like, as far as what the journey's like into transitioning into living like this and being like this, just more consciously. Doesn't seem like it's stopping. You could really advance yourself early on, maybe in your 20s, but it doesn't stop. So you're just ahead. Like, you be getting ahead to your 30s, and then we could keep going. But where it's headed, wow, no limitation, no limits, and more sense, more things connected, more gaps of information being filled as just all the pieces are coming together. They were not together. They're really
Yeah.
not together. Like we're and so processing here. We really I feel like we did something great with these videos, man.
Yeah, nah, definitely. I feel like it's definitely to the point. For
What?
sure. Even though it's longer, I feel like it's still to the point.
Yeah. Potent.
Alrighty.
Alright,
Yeah.
cool. All right, y'all. Thanks. We out. Tao Town.